Got the Lakers hat.
I'm trying to tell you, I knew this was happening before it was happening.
When did you get this hat made?
When he was a baby.
What's it like now that this has come to fruition for you? You've been talking about it for 9 months.
9 months? You're talking about 19, 20 years.
All right, 19, 20 years.
Had a microphone on me when I was talking about it.
What's it like right now that he is an LA Laker?
It's a wonderful feeling, but I already knew what was coming to him. I got 2 more boys. I got to come do the same thing 2 more years.
So you're going to get them to the Lakers too. How?
The big baller way. Ball control.
How good is Lonzo Ball going to be for the LA Lakers?
Hey, I'm going to tell you what. Lonzo Ball is going to take the Lakers to the playoffs his first year. Come see me when he does. I have another hat on to say I told you so.
Thanks a lot, LeVar. Congrats.
What's going on, guys? FlightMike here, and I'm back again with another news video. I have to apologize for not getting out some news videos for you guys for the past couple of days because my voice was absolutely drained from that 5-hour NBA draft live stream we did. For those of you guys that weren't there, we gained almost 2,000 subscribers in 1 day thanks to that live stream. So I need to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for all the support that you've been giving me on the channel lately, man. That is absolutely unreal. That live stream absolutely drained me, by the way, guys, and that's why I didn't really upload much these past couple of days because I wasn't really able to talk yesterday. My throat was so sore, and I definitely found a newfound respect for live streamers that are able to sit down and do that for so long. Of course, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe because on this channel we don't only report basketball news, but we discuss it amongst ourselves. Every comment, every tweet, and hell, from now on, every Instagram post on my latest picture is gonna get read by me, and from now on, we're gonna take 2 to 3 comments every single day on any of those social medias and start discussing it to open up each news episode. Be sure to subscribe and follow on Instagram and Twitter because you could be like my man Mercy Fleury here, who believes Malik Monk will become the best player in the draft class, which I personally think has a chance of happening, although I hope it doesn't because your boy is a Laker fan, but I think it could happen simply because this is one of the deepest drafts we've ever had. Understand that in typical draft years, players like Dennis Smith, Malik Monk, Lauri Markkanen would all be top 5 draft picks. This was one loaded draft class, and Malik Monk is a volume scorer and is quite possibly the greatest scorer that John Calipari has ever had the privilege of coaching due to his multiple 30-point games for Kentucky this season. Add him to a team with an established scorer like Kemba Walker with defensive studs Michael Kidd-Gilchrist and Dwight Howard, and you have yourself a solid foundation for contention in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Sincere Davis thinks that the Knicks need to fire Phil Jackson, and I think myself, the whole world, and every single person that's ever existed agrees with him. I bet if you dug up George Washington's grave and, resurrected him and asked him, do you think Phil Jackson should be fired? He'd say yes, despite him ever watching basketball.
A lot of rumors flying around and reports, too, that you've been listening to some trade offers for Kristaps Porzingis. Is that, in fact, happening?
We're getting calls. As much as we value Kristaps and, what he's done for us, when a guy doesn't show up at an exit meeting, everybody starts speculating on, the duration or his movability from a club. So we've been getting calls. And, we're listening, but we're not intrigued yet at this level. But as much as we love this guy, we have to do what's good for our club.
And what would be good for the club? Why would you do that?
Future. What it brings. Does it bring us 2 starters and a draft pick, or something that's even beyond that is something that we have to look at as far as going down the road. We know what he is. He's a unicorn and he's special.
Was missing that exit interview a big deal or not?
I don't think I've ever had a player over 25 years of coaching, maybe 30, not coming to an exit meeting. So it's not happened to me. I know it happens to other people and other players. And his his brother and his agent.
Phil Jackson has been a front office executive of the Knicks for years, and I'm honestly under the impression that he only exists so James Dolan can stop getting the heat for his poor decisions. Phil Jackson has not only failed to entice free agents to come to the New York Knicks, who are in New York for crying out loud. Imagine the market, imagine the crowd, imagine playing in Madison Square Garden, imagine the endorsement opportunities. But on top of that, Phil Jackson has also alienated Kristaps Porzingis and Carmelo Anthony. The Knicks need to get rid of Phil Jackson and hire me. No, I'm serious. I really think I can turn the Knicks around and easily become one of the greatest general managers that they've ever had. That's not really saying much, but I know I can do it. As for answering Ntilikina Nation and who could get the Knicks for $20 million, I'd say CP3, but the honest answer is nobody. Nobody wants to play for a dysfunctional organization. Nobody wants to waste precious years of their life playing for an organization that will not only fail to make the playoffs, but treats their established stars like crap. Now on to today's news. CP3 is reportedly declining his Clippers contract option and will become a free agent. Now personally, I don't really blame Chris Paul for doing this. In April, Doc Rivers came out and said this: "I always use Utah as a great example. Thank God Karl Malone and John Stockton didn't listen to people, you know what I mean? They fell in the playoffs and kept trying, and finally, late in their careers, they finally broke through to the finals. They didn't win it all, but you know, that's the pursuit. I just think it's so easy to say, hey there, they should break up from the outside, and I think that's such an easy opinion. Imagine hearing that if you're Chris Paul. Sure, John Stockton and Karl Malone are two amazing legends, an incredible tandem, and they were very entertaining to watch, but as an active NBA player, you never want to be compared to two Hall of Fame players who were known for consistently trying over and over again to make it to the NBA Finals. And once they did, they were not able to win a championship. In fact, that is the exact opposite thing of what you should say, Doc Rivers. Chris Paul has now turned 34, and I don't blame him for wanting to leave. I expect CP3 to pick a team that gives him the best chance to compete and win a championship, as his window of opportunity is closing and his best years as a basketball player are behind him, despite him still being very, very good. His all-star teammate Blake Griffin has also decided to opt out, and this decision I don't really agree with as much. With all due respect to Blake Griffin, why would you want to leave? In my opinion, I feel like Blake Griffin hasn't experienced success because he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Why would you leave a team where you are the face of the franchise to go somewhere else? LA is the reason why Griffin's personality has shined, and he's received numerous endorsements as a result of it. It's not like LA has failed to put a contending roster around Blake Griffin, as they successfully were able to bring in Chris Paul, with a little help from David Stern, cough cough, and built a contending team for him. That isn't going to change if he went to Boston or his hometown Oklahoma City. Leaving the Clippers for Russell Westbrook isn't going to help him compete. Instead, he should stay and try to recruit Russell Westbrook. Speaking of Los Angeles, Magic Johnson held nothing back after discussing D'Angelo Russell. We all know that prior to Magic Johnson's role as Lakers president of basketball operations, he was known for his extremely obvious tweets. Magic is notorious for saying it how it is, and I guess that applies to both unpleasant situations and pleasant ones. When asked about D'Angelo Russell, Magic said D'Angelo is an excellent player. He has the talent to be an all-star. We want to thank him for what he did for us, but what I needed was a leader. I needed somebody that also can make the other players better and also that players want to play with. I don't mean to mix up the words of Magic Johnson because he's my favorite team's president, but did he imply that players did not want to play with D'Angelo? This would make sense because when D'Angelo Russell was traded, not one of his former teammates tweeted anything about it. Well, Ivica Zubac said something about it, but that's about it. We all know that the Nick Young incident where D'Angelo Russell pretty much recorded Nick Young admitting to cheating on Iggy Azalea. But on top of this, Magic went out and said that D'Angelo wasn't a leader. Regardless, what's done is done, and only time can tell if this was either a shrewd move by Magic in trading the former number 2 overall pick, or if he sold low on one of the league's most promising players. The irony of this all was D'Angelo Russell was drafted based off of his great court vision. In fact, if you go back, you could find sports science videos on D'Angelo Russell's ability to pass and how great of a passer he was. The Los Angeles Lakers now plan to move forward with hometown hero Lonzo Ball leading the way, and Lonzo has had no problem getting all of Laker Nation to know that he will be the leader the Lakers need. That's good because Magic Johnson said he expects the first draft pick of his executive career's jersey to be hung in the rafters when all is said and done. In other news, former Los Angeles Laker Lamar Odom has returned to the spotlight after Stephen A. Smith referred to him in an absolutely hysterical segment on First Take.
I'm going to try to keep my composure.
A few moments later.
His very first move as the executive was to sign Lamar Odom, who was on crack.
Lamar Odom's lawyer released the statement on the matter as he feels like Stephen A. Smith defamed his client just to make a joke. I do feel like the way Stephen A. Smith yelled Lamar Odom was on crack was really funny, but at the same time I do agree with the attorney. It isn't right to make light of someone's illness, and make no mistake about it, Lamar Odom had a mental illness. To cap all this off, Jimmy Butler was traded on draft night to the Minnesota Timberwolves and took to Instagram to thank Chicago for all the great years they've given him and for supporting him since day one. Jimmy Butler discussed how frustrated he was by the way the Chicago Bulls handled the trade and being referred to as the face of the franchise. No matter what, Jimmy Butler can look forward to being reunited with his former head coach in Minnesota as the Timberwolves look like a lock to be contending in the Western Conference. That's going to be it for today's news, guys. If there are any topics that you want me to talk about for tomorrow's video, be sure to let me know in a tweet, comment, or Instagram comment. Thank you guys for subscribing to the channel, and if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do so. And for all of those guys that are part of Notification Squad, let me know up in the comment section down below. I'm your boy, TheFlightMike, and I'm signing out, baby. Peace. Woo!